everyone, it's Olivia from Girlybunches, and I've got this video to finish up the Christmas tree video that I did last week, and this is just to show you how I made the bauble that goes on top of that tree. So here it is, and all close up, and you can see that it's just, I think I did cover this, but it's polystyrene ball which I've done a little crochet motif around, and I made two and sewn them up the middle here. You could use any colours you like, you can use any size you like. This is just to show you how I did this, which is a 50mm ball, I believe, I think it is, yeah. And yeah, I've just put in some more of these pins, so again, be careful if you're going to use these, because you know these pins are quite long, and I think they're just sort of, yeah, they're just about safe there, but not, you know, not too far off the realms of getting your finger stuck with one of those, so be careful. And I used a polystyrene ball, like I said, but you could use a plastic one, a plastic clear one, but I can't find those here, so I've just had to use the polystyrene one. I used a toothpick to secure my bauble to the top of my tree, because it was polystyrene into polystyrene, and then I sewed around the edge, which was a bit tricky, but you know, it was fine. But you could just get away with the toothpick thing, which might make it better for storage, you know, throughout the year. If you're going to be making these as a hanging decoration, which would be really cute, and you're using a bigger one or a smaller one or whatever, essentially what we're going to be doing is making a doily shape. But whereas we would make a normal doily shape, you would increase the stitches on each round, which would make it lie nice and flat. Whereas this, what we want it to do is make a nice dome, so it will go over the ball. So really, you can apply this to any size ball that you want to cover, just by adding more rows to make it wider to go around a bigger ball, but just make sure you don't increase the stitches too much. So, you know, trial and error, but this video I'm going to show you how I made this one. Okay, so what we're going to need to do is we need to take one of these polystyrene baubles. Well, if you can get the clear ones, that would probably be better, but I can't get hold of the clear ones, so I just went to my local hobby craft. That's in the UK, we have these, and I just got a, what have I got? 50mm polystyrene ball, so that's it. I don't know, I'm sure you'll be able to get them wherever you are, you know, that's just what I can get hold of. So what you need to do is, we're going to need to do is make two sides that look like this. Now on my bauble, I don't know if you can see, if I can get the light right, there's some lines on there, and that kind of, there we go, you can see that now. That really does help me see what the halfway mark is. So what you need to do is you need to make a dome shape that will come up to that, roughly that line, because we're going to sew it together. So that does for me, and it is just essentially doing a doily, but whereas we would make a doily that would lay flat by increasing the stitches a little bit as each round as we went round, this is literally just, you know, a few rounds, and we haven't increased very much just because we want that slight curvature. So you make two sides and sew them together. So I'm going to show you how to make this side, and of course you can make this however you want and in any colour that you want, but yeah, so okay, what I started off with is some yellow yarn. It's not easy to say. Right, you can go over there because I can see that you're going to annoy me. Right, so I'm using a double knit cotton, which isn't as thick as a double knit sort of acrylic yarn, but it is a double knit, and but instead of using a 4mm hook, I'm using a 3mm hook, just because I want it to be a little bit tighter still. So this first round is made of 5 lots of 3 trebles together. You may know them as double crochets, but I know them as trebles. So we're going to do 3 trebles together, chain 3, and then do another group, chain 3, another group. We're going to do that 5 times into a magic loop. So magic loop we wrap around the finger. And I've got a video link down below. Let me just straighten my camera up, sorry guys. Got a video link down below to a video on how you do that, but it is just essentially making the slip knot around a loop of your finger and then working all of your stitches of the first round into that loop. So I'm going to chain 3 to replace my first treble, and then I'm going to do another treble into the loop, but to work them together you only do the first part of the stitch and leave the loop on the hook. I'll do that again to do the third one. So you start the stitch and you don't finish it, and you wait to the very last one that you've done in your group before you do the final pull the yarn through, and what that does is it makes a nice little group of stitches together. Okay, so I'll chain 3, and we'll do that again. So we'll do a loop over the hook, yarn over the hook, work into that loop, and we're going to leave that loop on there. Normally we would finish it, but we're not going to this case because we're going to start the next stitch into the loop, do one more like that, and we've left all the last stitches on the hook, and we pull the yarn through once at the very end like that, and then that gives us 2 groups of 3 trebles together. So we'll do that 5 times altogether. Okay, so we're just going to do the last chain, 3 chains, and now we've got our 5 points of our star. So we're just going to pull this tail, and that pulls that middle bit in tightly, so it gives us a nice shape. And then I do a slip stitch into the top of that group of 3 trebles that we did on at the beginning. There we go, nice slip stitch, and there we go, just pull that nice and tight, and then I cut the yarn and pull that through, make a nice tight knot. Okay, so that's our first bit done. Now I'm going to sew the ends in before I start the next round, just to make it easier to show you, so back in a moment. Okay, so we're back now, and I'm going to start doing this second round, which I'm using in a different colour just so that I can make this stand out a bit more. And this is the colour I'm using, and we're going to start working into those chain spaces there. So get the yarn on your hook, and you just start in any of the spaces that you like, doesn't really matter, and we're just going to do 2 trebles, 2 normal trebles, not together like we did in the previous round. So I'm going to do chain 3 to start off with, and then a treble into the same space, and then I'm going to do 3 chains, and then 2 more trebles into that same space. Okay, to do this bit here, this is from this round, this yellow bit here. So what I'll be doing here is doing 2 double trebles into the top of that very first round that we did here. So all we need to do here with the darker colour is just do 1 chain to get us from one side to the other, like that, and then I'm going to do that again by putting 2 trebles, 3 chains and 2 trebles into that next 3 chain space. Whoops. And then 1 chain to get us over that bit there and start working in the next chain space. So I shall go round and come back when I finish doing that bit. Okay, so all we need to do now is just do one chain, and I'll slip stitch into the top of that 3 chains there just to finish that round. And again, I'm going to cut my ends, sew them in, and I shall come back when I've done that. Okay, so we're going to do our next round, our 3rd round, and that will consist of 2 trebles, 1 chain, 2 trebles in any of those spaces, and then we're just going to do a double treble into the top of that group of 3 trebles from the first round. So this is what I've got so far. Not looking very curved, but this next round should bring it over nicely. Okay, so in any of those 3 chain spaces, we're going to start off with our colour. Well, I'm going to use the same colour as this one just because I want it to sort of stretch out, but again, it's entirely up to you what you use. So get that on there, and I'll do 1, 2, 3 chains, a treble, I'm going to do 1 chain, and then 2 more trebles, get some more yarn. Okay, so the double treble, so we wrap the yarn around twice, and I've got video links down below to show you how to do a double treble. So once you've got the yarn wrapped around twice, now what we're going to need to do, if I can get that to focus, please focus, there we go, we're going to put the hook, we're going to put the hook maybe once in there and then once in there, just because it will sort of make it a, you know, fairly tidy place to put the hook, but it is a question of just putting it where you can. Okay, there's no particular rule, as long as you're not putting it somewhere stupid like down there or in here, you know, somewhere around the top here, and you've got it going through that bit there. If I can get that to focus, there we go. So you're going to put the hook down through it, and you're going to pull it up round, and it's going to pull down that middle bit, which is what we want. So you're going to do the yarn through, and then the yarn through to do your double treble, and we're going to do that again. So you can either put it down in the same place, or you can put it down in that little bit there. It doesn't really matter. Alright, so don't worry too much. So yarn through, and yarn through, and then if you just give it a little arrangement, there you go, that's perfect. So again, we're going to do 2 trebles into the next chain space, one chain, 2 more trebles into that same space, like that, and then our 2 double trebles, so that's yarn twice over the hook and down where we can get it. Whoops. Try that again. So that's yarn through the 2, next 2, and then the last 2. And I'll just do that once more. Like that. Okay, so you can see now it's starting to pull it around a little bit like like a dome, and you can see now that that's sort of elongated that star shape, which is what I was looking for. And you know, it doesn't matter that we've got this one stitch here, because it sort of pulls it down, which is just what I wanted. Okay, so I shall carry on round to the beginning and come back. Okay, so I'm just going to do my last double treble into that first round, and then I'm going to finish by doing a slip stitch into the top of that treble there, like that, and again cut my ends, and I'm going to sew in those two ends and come back. But I'm very pleased with that so far. It's starting to really look like the other side, and I'll just sew those ends in and I'll come back. Okay, so I've sewn in the ends, and all I'm going to do now is just do a row of single crochet all the way around that edge. As you can see, once you've done that, it does bring that up nicely, a bit more tighter. Okay, so this is entirely up to you what colour you use, obviously, but I'm just choosing this darker colour. And we get going by starting off in any of those stitches from the previous round, it doesn't matter, and I just do a slip stitch. I'll do a chain, and then I'm going to do a single crochet into that same space, like that, and then I'm going to do a single crochet into the top of each of those stitches from the previous round, and then one in that chain space. So let me get to that bit. So that's the double trebles, one in the treble, another one in the treble, and then in that chain space I'm just going to do one there, like that, and I'm just going to do that all the way round. Okay, so I'm just going to do my last single crochet, and then I shall just slip stitch into that very first stitch there. And I'm going to pull the yarn through like that, and this time I'm going to leave a really long tail because I want to use that tail to sew the two sides together. Okay, so I've got the so I've just put the two sides, I'm holding them onto the polystyrene ball, and you just need to align the 2 points. So you want the point matching up with the point, otherwise that's going to look a little strange. So to hold those into place, I just got some of these pins that I used in the Christmas tree video. Be careful of your fingers if they're very long like this, and pin it down into place, and then get your other side and pin that into place. Okay, so that should help get that lined up. Okay, so I'm just going to put that on there whilst I thread my needle. So I've left a very long tail, probably too long. That's what I normally do anyway. And try and thread this needle, which isn't very exciting for you, is it? There we go, unthreaded. Okay, so all we're going to do is we're going to sew all the way round. So we'll come back and sew that tail in later. So if I turn that over and put that out of the way, that time was going the right way the first time round. Oh dear. Right, so what you want to do is you want to catch those two where you would put the hook, and again on the other side, and it's literally just sewing those two edges together all the way round. So again, you put your needle through those two loops, which is exactly where you would put your crochet hook on one side, and you pick up the other two on the other side, and you just go all the way round. Okay, so we've got to the end there, and I'm just going to put that on there just to make that a bit easier. Sewn all the way around, and I'm just going to tie that off with that tail there, and then just sew those two ends in like so, like that, and then I'll just cut those two ends, or you could leave those on if you wanted to have that as a hanging decoration. You could leave that on. Yeah, or you could just maybe not have them so far apart like I've got, but yeah, if you wanted to have that as a hanging decoration, that would be a good way of making that hanging. And just snip those two ends off, and there we go, there's the bauble that I made to go on top of my Christmas tree. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the other one as well. I would love to see pictures of what you make, your Christmas decorations that you've been making. That would be lovely to see. So you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Google Plus. Now I have a Google Plus page. I still don't know how it works, so you know, if you talk to me on there, I will do my level best to reply, but I'm still working it out. So yes, they haven't made that very easy, that transition, have they, Google? Thank you. But yeah, it's there. I get to join my circle, why not? And yeah, I don't know what that means yet, but I'm going to find out. So yeah, come and say hi any way you like. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I should have some more videos coming up very soon. Thank you very much for your support over this year. I'd love a thumbs up if you enjoyed these videos or any of my videos, and why not subscribe so that you can catch up on all the videos that will be coming up very soon. Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye.